And this was for the United States of America. Who let Iris and TJ slide though? They was not supposed to be top three.
Sierra, you gotta go. Alondria, I liked you. I was rooting for you. You showed like no loyalty last night. You're fake. Shelly, you're a mean girl, and I loved you since day one. But what was that last night? Just have the conversation with Huda. Like, I don't know. It's just this season sucks. It sucks. I'm mad. I'm irritated. I'm rooting for Amaya, Huda, Chris. Everybody else can go. I'm done.
Are y'all seeing what I'm seeing? Are y'all seeing what I'm seeing? Because everyone was saying that Nick just needed to put on a cowboy hat or a cowboy costume, and there you go. That's Alandria's cowboy. Why did the producers put him in a cowboy costume for the heart rate challenge tonight? I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Again, I'm just so sorry for Sierra that she got caught in the crosshairs of this. But oh my gosh, do these producers produce? And I'm eating it up. Nicolandria tonight? I'm so excited to watch.
Also, no shade. I think Sierra told Nick she didn't mind him exploring Alandria. She happy it was her because she doesn't see Alandria as a threat. Because why would you be happy with your guy exploring someone he's known longer than you? He's known her for 3 weeks in the house. Shouldn't he know by now if he would want to explore her or not? Him exploring Alandria is worse than him exploring a random girl. At least for the random girl, it's like, like, let me just learn about you. Let me see if we have the same interests, the same hobbies. Like, let me just explore and see what that could be. He has known Alandria. He knows about her. So him wanting to explore somebody he is friends with is worse than him exploring a random girl. That's worse. Like, he already knows her. He should know by now. So the fact that he's still like, oh, I don't know, girl, that's a sign right there.
Alandria said, out of everyone in this villa, Alandria said, one thing about me, you know I'm going to explore. Huda, who is probably one of the biggest girls this season has seen, said, if I was ugly, would that have made it better? Shelly advised her best friend in the villa, Alandria, to continue exploring her connection with Taylor. Sierra also advised her best friend, Alandria, who made out with her boyfriend Nick, mind you, to explore a connection with Austin. And Drina got friend zoned by Pepe, and apparently she's boring. Amaya, still being iconic, you know, but in her man's words, has a relationship that is going sour. Yeah, let's just go ahead and wrap this season up, give Amaya the 100K, and give me Beyond the Villa.
I don't care when nobody say whatever Pepe said they did. Whatever this man said, they did. If he said she did that shit, she did that shit. And the only reason I'm saying that is because he just be calling shit like it is from what I've seen so far of him. And he barely says anything. He's like a background character. But when he says stuff, he be accurate. So I think they cut out things that we didn't see. So I don't know why everybody's all gang up on Shelly. She's such a mean girl. Obviously, we're not there, and a lot had to go on. Yeah, it's just a challenge, and I agree with y'all. You know, that maybe she shouldn't be crashing out, but like, come on, guys. Like, Pepe. The whole cast was gagged too. Like, if you go back and watch, they was all gagged. So, I mean, it had to be more than what we saw. Just go back and pay attention to how they cut it.
I'm not gonna lie, this made my heart melt. I think Huda has calmed down since the Jeremiah situation, in that she will be a better person moving forward with anybody that she's with. But Chris reassuring her and actually speaking to her and not getting mad every time she has a situation, like he reassures her, and that's what Jeremiah could have did a little bit better instead of leading her own. Versus Chris is like, okay, I actually do like her. I mean, there's no point of me chasing somebody that doesn't know exactly what she wants. Hey, Shelly doesn't know what she wants. She don't. She don't. She didn't know with Austin. She didn't know with Chris. I think she do know. I think she like having multiple people around her. And that's fine and dandy, but not on the show when other people can get dumped from the island by you doing this. Anyways, Cute couple. I like this. I ship this now. I can't lie. I really liked it. And Hella in her calm girl, Huda in her calm girl era. I love it. Keep it that way, Huda, please.
Austin's comment to Amaya confirms that he's a Trump supporter. We all knew this, but there are so many people that are trying to defend him and saying that he reposts everything and that he's just confused. Like, stop trying to baby these Trump supporters. They know what the fuck you're doing. In this episode, The Messy Mail, Austin and Amaya were going back and forth because Austin basically wrote a letter to Amaya basically saying that she cries too much and that she's doing a lot over guys that she barely knows, even though that's the point of the show, to make genuine connections. When Amaya was going back and forth because Ace and Austin were ganging up on her, Austin proceeds to tell Amaya, "Do you understand?" in a patronizing manner, as if she couldn't understand English. We all know that Amaya speaks 2 languages and that it's clear that one language is stronger than the other and it bleeds into her speech, but that doesn't mean that Amaya is dumb. The ability to be able to speak not 1 but 2 languages fluently, on top of that she's a nurse, may I say again, she's a nurse, is something that a lot of you guys cannot do. And for Austin to take that misogynistic, low-key racist ass tone with her, crazy.
Okay, here's what the editors did to confuse you, right? But this is where a lot happens and it's cut off and it's like kind of confusing to the viewer. Here, they show very strategic clips. Shelly gets up and she's looking back at Huda. She looks back at Huda twice. But they show, what they do with the clips, they reverse it, right? So the first clip they show of her looking back first, you'll see. Huda is getting ready to change position. This is her looking back for the first time, okay? Right. But what they do is they actually showed first Shelly looking back at it the second time. Okay, right? So they do that. They flip the clips. So once you see Shelly gets up with that red shit on her head and then she technically looks at them with that red thing on her head. But how they edited it is she gets up and then they put the clip in here of that red thing already off her head. Right? When really that clip is her really seeing this without, that first look she did was her reacting to her about to ride his face is what I'm assuming. So this is how editors kind of trick you and whatever. So do I think Huda did a lot? Yeah, and there's a reason why we can't see it, but we see everybody's faces like shocked and, And I haven't seen the general consensus on how y'all feel on TikTok, but on Instagram, y'all getting a little racist when it comes to Laundry and Shelly. So let me make this clear. You only have a problem when people crash out when they're black. Alondria, however delusional she was, had every right to crash out over Taylor and the way he was treating her. Because he never once told her to her beautiful black face that he was not interested and he wanted to stop exploring this connection. He led her on, stepped his game up when a man in the house came in specifically for her, and then as soon as a girl that looked nothing like her came in, he abandoned that connection because he knew he didn't like her from the jump, but used her to stay in the house. Though we were a little confused about Shelly yesterday, she cleared Huda for filth. She finally said something about the fact that the girl code that Huda made up only applies to Huda. And the only reason y'all are mad at Alondria and Shelly, and I've even seen Sierra thrown in there, is because, specifically them first 2, are dark-skinned black women standing on the business and saying it a little bit more aggressively than they originally were. I really just wish y'all would come out and say y'all was racist. I just really wish.
I think the biggest problem with this season is that everybody is hypocrites, right? Down to the relationships, the friendships, everybody is hypocrites. Everybody is doing things that they don't want done to them. Even with Sierra and Nick, right? Sierra kind of felt weird that he kissed Alondria. Then she told him, do not make out with nobody at the challenge that you're interested in, and I won't either. But she made out with Elon, I think like twice. So she did what she did not want Nick to do. When it comes to Huda, Huda absolutely crashed out if anybody tried to talk to Jeremiah. A bombshell could walk in there and blink at Jeremiah and she would cry, flip them off, and do the absolute most, call them out their names, throw stuff when she was angry. But when it came to Alondria just telling her like, oh girl, you don't have to do that, she started crying and was like, I would never talk to someone that way. But you do talk to people that way. When it comes to Shelly and Ace, Shelly feels like Ace did too much in the challenge, but she also doubled back and did a lot in the challenge. Sierra told Shelly she needs to address Huda, but Sierra did not even address Alandria, sit down and talk to her and tell her how that kiss made her feel uncomfortable. Zach told Alandria when he's with a girl, he likes to discuss their problems behind closed doors, but then he went out of his way right now to talk about Amaya in front of everyone. Amaya yelled at Shelly because she felt like Shelly and Ace had something going on, even though Shelly was talking to Ace before she got there. But Amaya kissed Austin behind Shelly's back and never told her, and also never told her she was interested in exploring him. So because everybody is hypocrites, I'm not on anybody's side. Everybody takes turns doing things that fits them in the moment, and when it doesn't fit them, everybody gets mad. Everybody, all of them. Line them all up.
Tens. Give the producers their tens. See, this is why I don't produce the show. I complain after every episode and then they reel me back in. I'm still recovering. I have butterflies. Like, why am I nervous? Fuck Jeremiah and Hannah. We got Nick Alandria. How the fuck did they pull that off? That's how you know that the producers have to be involved, because had Amaya got sent home, we would have gotten none of this. That kiss at the end of the episode, I mean, I don't know if they gave my boy Nick an extra glass of wine or what, because he was looking a little flushed, but he got that liquid courage and said, look, bitch, you're the most beautiful, ethereal woman I've ever seen, and I want to kiss you. Taylor looked like a little-ass boy the whole episode with his 6 dreads, pissing me off. He looked like a little-ass boy with his feet dangling off the couch. Just childish as fuck. Alandria's sitting there like, I'm still going to fight for our connection. No, bitch. Nick said, I'm going to fight for this. I did find my mind creeping a little bit into what Sierra is going to think. You know, she's going to be heartbroken, my sister. And I love Sierra and I love her outfits, but not enough to break this up. I'm taking Nick Alandria all the way. They're getting my 100K. The challenge was so much fun. The girls went all out with their kisses. Sierra ate that kiss. And Huda, listen, I don't like you very much, Huda, so I can't give you a 10, but I will give you a 12. Ate that down. She had that man seeing God. Like, anyways, I guess there are other people in the villa. I don't give a fuck what they got going on. Nick Alandria all the way. They're winning, y'all. We got to get on the same page.
I want to go a little deeper into the situation, how interesting it is to me. This to me is us watching the performers and the influencers actually start to develop feelings for their couples and realizing, damn, they shouldn't have probably played Friendship Island, because now they're feeling the type of way. So let's talk about it. The situation with Sierra and Alandria. Sierra was telling Alandria she didn't feel any type of way, and they're sisters and girlfriends and all this stuff. And she also told the same thing to Nick. But as soon as Iris brought up this point, she was like, wait, actually I do feel a type of way. So girl, you either feel a type of way or you don't. One of them's a lie. I feel like she lied to Alandria and she lied to Nick. Why did she lie to them? Because she is putting on a fucking performance for these damn cameras. And the gag is, when you're involving intimacy and romance, maybe at some point you will actually stop giving a fuck about the fact that you're on camera. And you can't play this girlhood, sisterhood, whatever the hell, because obviously you are not happy. Now let's talk about the Shelly situation. I feel like Shelly is more upset about the fact that Huda is a hypocrite. Like, it's a lot deeper than people are thinking. They're thinking that she's upset because of a challenge. No, Huda is the one who gets upset about people kissing her man during challenges, the way she was calling everyone types of bitches when they kissed Jeremiah. So it's like, if you wouldn't want that done to you, why would you do that to me? That's disrespectful as fuck. I let your behavior slide for so long. Why are you doing this to me? But the issue here, Shelly, is y'all should have never let her behavior slide. Huda is selfish. Huda is only out for herself. But there's nothing wrong with that in Love Island. Y'all wanted to be girlhood, sisterhood. Huda used that word when it was convenient to her, but she's showing that at the end of the day, Huda is looking out for herself. Y'all need to look out for yourselves more. The dynamic that they all created in the villa is going to be their own demise. The clown came back to bite. It's human emotion for Sierra to be sensitive with the Alandria situation, but blaming Alandria is crazy. And Iris was messy as fuck, I don't care. It's human emotion for Shelly to be betrayed by Huda. But technically, Huda is participating in a challenge. She just doesn't think she has to play by the same rules that y'all do. And that is how we got here. Welcome to my TED Talk.
I think the one thing that irritates me is like, y'all are switching sides. In no way is there any side to take. There's no side to take. When I make my commentary, I call out everybody. If I feel like you did something weird, I'm going to call it out. If I feel like I don't agree with what you did, I'm going to call it out. Like, there is no, I'm going to sit there and just ignore it and act like what you did wasn't weird because, like, I'm a fan of yours. When Huda was acting like a psychopath, I called her out. When I didn't agree with some of the stuff everybody else was doing, I called it out. And I call things based on the episode that I am watching. Do I believe people in there are mean girls? No. Like a lot of my commenters say, they're in a house, they have no phone, they have no TV, all they have is each other. That would literally drive anybody crazy. Imagine how y'all felt during COVID when y'all had to sit there and be in the house all day, right? So I get that. But at the end of the day, I don't hate any of them. I don't personally know any of them to hate any of them. All I could talk about is what I have seen on the show. And like I said, those were not everybody's best moments. And somebody put it best. All of them have had their faults. All of them have been wrong. Honestly, in my opinion, they should all sit down, talk about it, and squash it because they have all done things that are questionable. Nobody in there is innocent. Not a single person except Amaya Papaya. And another thing, I'm just going to use my platform to just say, just because Olandria, Shelly, all of them may piss me off episode to episode, time to time, one thing we're not going to do is push any colorist, racist, or xenophobic rhetoric on my page. Because you guys know on my page, I have spoke about racism, I have spoke about colorism, and at the end of the day, I support Black women always. I don't have to agree with everything that they do. But one thing y'all are not going to do is come into my comment section or to my page and sit there and be racist towards these women, be colorist towards them, be xenophobic, trying to paint them as angry Black women, yada, yada, yada. No. I will never, ever, ever support that. And I don't agree ever with people pushing that narrative about them. They have the right to go off just like anybody else does. So please don't get it twisted when you come to my page. Please don't get it twisted. I don't support none of that. No.
I'm really getting bothered with watching the way sisterhood and being a girl's girl is being weaponized on this year's season of Love Island. And as someone who is a self-proclaimed girl's girl, I don't care. That is one thing I will give myself. I am not a male-centered woman. I have a boyfriend and I love him very much, but I was not racist into men. I was racist into education and making my own money. That's just how I was raised. So to put my 2 cents in the matter, it's very hard for me to watch women take being a girl's girl as I choose the girls I like the best and I enable everything that they do. Being a girl's girl is correcting your friends in private and defending them in public. You don't have to out them. You don't have to embarrass them. Any woman, whether I like you or not, I am not going to get in front of a man ever and disparage your name. Don't care. Don't care if it's my boyfriend. Don't care if it's my brother. I'm not going to sit up with a man and kiki about another woman ever. And so for all of y'all to sit there and watch those boys bully Amaya, because that's what they're doing, and I know bully is a trigger word, they were bullying her for having an emotion, which is crazy to me because the number one pushback I'm getting for not being with Shelly or Landria's behavior in the last episode is, but Black women, but you're a Black woman and we're not allowed to have emotions and express ourselves. This is what we've been experiencing our whole lives. Yet Amaya is getting bullied by men for her emotions. Amaya is literally, she called the man babe and she's been getting jumped for ever since. She's up there in tears, standing on her own 2 feet, standing up for herself, and not one of the girls spoke up for her. It could have been my worst enemy in the world up at that podium, and it would have taken the power of God to rip me up off of Austin and Ace when they were humiliating her like that and dogpiling her. That is a woman. Who the fuck raised y'all to talk to her that way? I always want to give Black women the benefit of the doubt, but the way they're conducting themselves as a sisterhood in front of these men is ridiculous to me. The way that you allow your man to treat other women that he's not attracted to says a lot about you as a woman. Just because you don't want her does not mean you get to disrespect her. And just because you're nice to me does not mean I'm gonna sit beside you while you disrespect the next bitch. I don't get down like that. That's embarrassing because that behavior is indicative to how you see women and how you'll act when I'm not around. And I don't want to be with no man that's going to embarrass me when I'm not around. Period.
Be brutally honest, all these people pretty much suck in some form or fashion. Like, you can say it's not Friendship Island, but so many people love PPG from last year. So friendships obviously do matter when it comes to this show and the dynamics and how we enjoy them as viewers, but also the relationships and couples. And I think it stands out that there are no truly actually strong couples and dynamics because we haven't had one couple get sent to the hideaway for those moments. Almost every season up to season 7 of current Love Island USA, couples have been sent on hideaways and multiple dates because there's actual connections and, like, the viewers, we want to see these people explore. We want to see them get their alone time, but we don't have those things fostering. We had toxic relationships, abusive dynamics, and abusive people like Huda and Jeremiah together. Then you have Sierra and Nick, who are separately amazing and fan favorites, but together their dynamic is not authentic to me, especially when you call out the things of Nick always pausing with like the dream girl thing. Oh my God, am I your dream girl? And him pausing and not answering, or the girl for me, you know, and not confirming that it's Sierra. And then the feelings with Nick and Olandria, that whole thing, you know, Nick Olandria, that dynamic is also really weary because even though I think that he yearns for her and she wasn't open to Nick, I don't know if I would want Olandria to be with somebody who is doing what he's doing to Sierra, which is him trying to mark his territory because he was intimidated by and threatened by Elan, because he also didn't want to put up in a competition. He didn't want to be in a love triangle where he had to put forth more effort and fight for his girl. Whereas he didn't mind going and exploring multiple other connections, but not doing the work. You know what I'm trying to say? And that's the dynamic with a lot of the men. The same thing like Chris more so leaning out towards Huda when he's more interested in Shelly is because he doesn't want to put the work in. He doesn't want to fight. It's not because he feels as though there's a better opportunity with Ace and Shelly. It's more so he just doesn't want to fight. He doesn't want to put forth the effort. But then you have the women who are trying to bend over backwards, literally Huda and Jeremiah, but the women are literally bending over backwards, and from the words of Olandria's mouth, asked and pleaded and begged and seen like, what can you do, like doing the work? How can I make this better? How can I make this thing stronger for us? Trying to plan dates for the men, making each other breakfasts, and the breakfast Olympics going on, and doing all these things and not being a bare minimum. And Olandria, like a lot of the women doing their best to get the men's attention, and it's so disappointing to see, and it's like really disturbing. And I think it's a very interesting dynamic of society, misogyny, and the patriarchy, and how we so often see men do the bare minimum and get applauded for it, and women having to put forth extra work to try to gain the attraction and the attention and the confirmation and the winning of the man, in a sense, when there's a prize in the situation. Like Olandria is someone who I believe does know that she's the prize and sees her worth, but it gets so tropey, and it's almost like not epigenetic, but like a nature versus nurture type of thing, or just a societal norm for women, black women, to go into competition mode for a man, even if that man is not of your caliber, but also circumstantial to what you have in a situation, and not want to be seen as less than or losing something in the dynamic. Like if you see everybody else parted up and being chosen, you want to be chosen, and the feeling of being chosen feels good, even if you know that you're being chosen by somebody who's not equally yoked to you, or that you know is not better for you or good for you long term. And I think that's what we're witnessing with a lot of these couples, because Jaden is clearly not that interested in Austin, but she would rather be chosen and be with somebody who is picking her than not be included in the situation. Huda and Chris, girl, Huda is just another manipulative person who doesn't realize the own toxic ways of her actions, which is even more dangerous. And then Iris and TJ, girl, Barbie and Ken, I guess, like, I don't care. Andrina and Brian, there's no spark there. It's physical chemistry and familiarity. Brian is not that interesting. Call Andrina boring. I think it's more so their conversations are boring, because I've never seen a boring moment from Andrina. She's always funny, and she's obviously one of the most stunning women to ever grace the Love Island sands, bitch. Elan is a snake in the grass and weird as fuck, but obviously a physically beautiful, stunning man, which is why I feel that Nick was intimidated, because he's the more conventionally attractive version of him, truly. And that's no shade to Nick, because Nick has a much better personality, but when you look at side by side, bar for bar, Elan is the more physically, like, it just gets more polished and more put side by side. Elan is getting a modeling contract before Nick would. You know what I mean? But personality, character-wise, Nick is more high in that regard. But that don't matter in these situations. Zach and Amaya, I don't know. Like, Amaya is just a princess, which is why we all love her and want her to be the winner, because she's somebody who's just coming across as authentic and not for the money, not really trying to play a game, and it's something beautiful to watch and see. Like, she really just wants love and she's trying to be herself, but she's somebody who is in a situation where it's slim pickings for somebody who has a very specific niche personality. And Zach, I feel like, is interesting with that and the whole Olandria thing. I don't know. And Pepe turning down Andrina to stay with the girl Grayson. I feel like Pepe should have left with Hannah, because based off of what Hannah said their connection and chemistry was, Pepe should have left when Hannah got voted home. Like, we've seen that happen before, where people are like, you know, oh, y'all sending her home, I'm leaving too. And that's what I feel like should have happened, because he just seems like he's coasting by now, but he's a stand-up guy and not really there for the money. But I think he's just there for the experience and trying to grow and evolve as a person, which kudos to him for that, whatever, woo woo. Shelly and Ace, I don't know. Like, I don't care for them together. I'm not against it at this point. I've kind of just surrendered my frustration with the coupling. It is what it is. They're gonna probably make it to the end. I think Ace is a star and made for competitive shows. He's probably gonna be on like House of Villains. gonna do a season of Survivor. I can see him on a challenge. I can see Ace doing Big Brother. I can see Ace doing Traders. He's gonna do well and gonna have a social media and reality television career outside of this. Absolutely. But do I think that him and Shelly are like meant to be for each other long term? Not exactly, honestly. I really don't. Taylor and Clark, absolutely boring, and I think it's very interesting that Clark never looks Taylor eye to eye when they speak. She always has her head down, her eyes down. Beautiful woman, and I think anybody negating that and trying to argue that is just being a hater and showing weird moves. And I think that Taylor, the interesting thing with Taylor and Olandria is one, a little bit of natural human attraction. He's just not that attracted to Olandria, and it has nothing to do with the comparison of the two women, other than possibility it being a colorism thing, because even though they're black women and they're both on the darker side of blackness, one is obviously darker or deeper complexion than the other. And I think that that does play a part in colorism. That still plays into that trope. And then looking at Taylor's ex is a lighter skinned black woman closer to Clark than Olandria, I think that still tracks, you know, and comfortability and all that stuff like that. And I think that the way that he's moving is very schemy. I understand why Taylor's not telling Olandria what the fuck is up, because why would you like ruin your safety net? Because at the end of the day, Olandria's safety net, because it's like, you know, if you treat them like dirt, they're gonna stick like mud. And he's been breadcrumbing her into treating her like dirt so she can stick like mud. And that's exactly what she's doing, sadly. Because so if things don't work out with Clark, he can always go back there and be safe and secure and make his way to the end. Because he's more concerned with making his way to the end because, you know, Nick and Ace are going to be there. And that's the most thing that he's like attached to, is making it to the end with his boys. For whatever reasons those are. What do y'all think, though? Let me know what y'all think. And it's just really, this is such a unpleasant cast. Like, I like a lot of these people separately, but together, absolutely not. And I think it's like, it has a lot to do with the way that the show is being produced this season, and also people coming into it and being so self-aware and aware of this being a game show, which is interesting because truly the prize money at the end that you get if you're the main couple is not enough for them to be acting like this. No shade, $100,000, and more than likely if they're a couple, they're going to split the money. And that's $50K after taxes. Y'all probably getting like maybe $30K a piece. Y'all are going to get that in 2 or 3 brand deals off of the success that you get from being on the show and being a likable person and entertaining and having nice, authentic connections. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like really weird, like when you get into that logic as well. So because it's like, obviously only 2 people can win. And then I will say this real quick. I would love if Shelly and Ace won and Shelly got the opportunity to take the $100,000 and keeps it for herself. And that way we can see if Ace really wants her. I would love to see that. Absolutely. Would love that. Reparations. But let me know what y'all think about these couples and everything going on currently with Love Island. I think this is one of the least loving seasons. And a lot of it has to do with the way it started, but also a lot of ways that people came into it. But yeah, let me know what y'all think about this. Love you. Bye.
So I have an opinion on why I think this season is flopping. And before I say what I'm about to say, if you don't like my opinion, that's okay. Okay, that's okay. But do not get in my comments talking slick. We can have a discussion, but the minute you start talking slick, I'm blocking you. So keep that in mind. Just don't talk to me like you fucking crazy. The reason why I feel like this season is flopping is because all of the girls this season are male-centered as fuck, but they show it in different ways. The only girl who I genuinely feel like is not male-centered is Amaya. And let me explain to you why. The reason why I feel like these girls are male-centered, all of them, not just fucking Huda, not just whoever, they're all fucking male-centered because they are doing all of these things to try to be picked by whatever man they're pursuing. Sierra's trying to do all these things to like have Nick pick her and him be like, oh, I really like you and all this stuff. Alondra is doing the same thing with Taylor. Huda did the same thing with Jeremiah. They're all being really fucking male-centered, and it's almost like they're shrinking themselves or they're dulling themselves down so that they can be picked, and they're just not being their authentic self, if that makes sense. Now, some people who are friends with Sierra or whatever are on TikTok being like, well, that's how she really acts. That could be true. You know her better than I do, right? But I feel like she's doing all of these little things so Nick will pick her, okay? And she's trying so hard to be picked, and she needs that validation from him. And that's where I feel like we're having a problem. Alondria, she's doing the same thing with Taylor so she could be picked. It's like this little fucking game. Huda did the same thing with Jeremiah. All of these girls are doing this shit, and it's pissing me off because if you want to compare it to last season, none of the girls were trying that hard to be picked. And I think that's why it worked so well last season, because they weren't trying to shrink themselves to fit into these relationships with these men. When all of them came back from Casa last year, Miguel, Cordell, and Kenny, and they all came back with the girls from Casa, you did not see Leah, Serena, or Janae go up to them and basically be like, well, what can I do to, like, make you pick me? Or, like, you know, do all this, or, like, have sex with them to try to, like, keep them from, like, pursuing anything. They said, you made your choice. You made your bed. Now hump in it. Like, they basically was like, you made your choice. Go be with her, right? And they didn't try to be anything but themselves. And the boys loved them being themselves. They clocked the men, and they said, no, I didn't like that. Serena clocked the fuck out of Cordell. Janae clocked Kenny. And Leah, like, she wasn't, like, super mad at Miguel because they were, like, a newer couple. But she also was, like, not going up behind him and be like, so, like, what can I do to make you like me? Like, they were all themselves. And the boys were like, wait, I actually, like, really miss Janae. Or I really miss Serena. Or I really miss Leah. Like, they all were authentically themselves. And I think that's why it worked. This season, you see all these fucking girls chasing up under these fucking boys, acting like the boys are the fucking prize. They're forgetting who they fucking are. And that's what's pissing me clean the fuck off. The only girl that feels like she is being herself is Amaya. She's not trying to get these men to necessarily like her. She's just being herself authentically. The only time Amaya was a little desperate was when they were in Casa, and she basically got the text saying that if you don't find a connection in 24 hours, you get dumped. Which, rightfully so, because, like, you're trying to find a connection, you don't want to get dumped. So, like, obviously you're going to come a little bit more desperate, but, like, she's been herself. She is not trying to tone herself down to fit in these places and be with these men. Ace and Austin made her feel insecure about being herself, right? And rightfully so, because, like, they kept telling her all the things that they didn't really like, and Austin was going around telling everybody but her what he didn't like about her, so she felt a little insecure. But I feel like that was, like, 2 or 3 days, and now she's like, okay, like, let me just, like, be myself, right? And I feel like it works for her. That's why people love her, because she's herself. She's herself. And if you like her, you like her. If you don't, you don't, right? But, like, all the other girls are so concerned about these men liking them and picking them that it's starting to, like, really affect the fucking dynamic. None of them are fucking girls. You're not convincing me that any of them are an actual girl, really, except Amaya. I don't see any of them being girls. You're not convincing me. And the reason why I say that is because you cannot be male-centered and be a girl's girl. You can't do both of those things at the same time. You can't. And as somebody who used to be male-centered, you cannot be a girl's girl until you stop giving a fuck about what a man thinks of you. You can't be a girl's girl. Point blank, period. So none of them are being girls. I think Amaya is really the only one who's being somewhat of a girl's girl. The rest of them, you're not convincing me. And it just feels really borderline high school as fuck. It just, like, I don't know what it is, but, like, they need to do a hard reset after this season. A hard fucking reset. In the first couple episodes, when Sierra was, like, in the love triangle with Bella and fucking Nick, she kept telling Nick, like, oh, pursue if you need to pursue, blah, blah, blah. And then when they went into the photo booth, that was the first moment where I felt like she kind of, like, did something to like, get him to pick her, if that makes sense. And I remember people were like, well, she's coupled up with him, so, like, she can't, like, throw herself at him if they're coupled up. And so I kept my mouth shut about that, but that was the first moment I noticed that shit. But I just didn't say nothing. And I kept saying in previous videos, like, she needs to stop telling him, oh, like, pursue all this stuff, when I don't feel like she actually, like, really felt that way. She just wanted him to perceive her in a certain way so that he picked her. And then Alondria with the fucking photo booth shit that she did. Oh my fucking God. That shit was such a hard watch. Like, you have all of these bad bitches going out sad behind these men. And I'm like, what? The men ain't even all that. And y'all going out sad behind them because you want to be picked. I think next season what they should do is, if I was doing season 8 of Love Island USA, this is what I would do. The first rule, you cannot self-submit. Either a friend or a family member has to submit you for Love Island. You cannot submit your own application. 2, you have to have under 10,000 followers to be considered. 3, I would take away the prize money. I would announce that the prize money is gone. Whether I take it away really or just, like, pretend to take it away, I would take away the prize money. The next thing I would do is I would actually cut the whole friends taking over the social media thing. Cut that shit out, because I feel like these people are going into the villa for two things: the prize money, up like trying to get the prize money, and the social media following and all that. Cut it out. If you want people to be genuine, you have to take away the things that like they've been going on the show for. So take away that. Make all of them private their social media accounts once the first episode airs. Take it away. Take all that, oh, my friend's running my social media account. Take that shit away. Take it away. Take it away. Because I feel like it's all just a recipe for like a bunch of influencers trying to go on the fucking show. Another rule I would have is if you know somebody or you're friends with somebody who's been on the show previously, you can't go on the show. I don't give a fuck. I don't care. I think that Sierra was like trained by her friends who were on the show? No. But she knows how the show works because she has watched it so much, but then also has friends on the show. I don't think that that's like, I don't like that. I'm sorry. I don't like that. I don't like how Zach is friends with Miguel. I just feel like at this point, y'all gotta let it go. You gotta let it go. Stop letting people who are friends with people on other seasons go on the show. And I know I said, oh, Miguel, get Miguel's friends in there. I was kind of joking because we were, having a lack of male bombshells. But if I was going into next season, if I was running it, I would take away the idea that if you are close friends with somebody who's been on the show before, because if you want them to form genuine connections, you have to like take those things away at this point. And if they get the social, like if they private their accounts, they can still get all the follower requests, right? They can still get the followers, but they, like the friends doing the social media stuff. I feel like that adds to the whole, they're only going on it for the followers. They're only going on it for the money. Okay? They have to private their social media accounts and the friends can't run it. It has to just sit there idly. So if people go to request to follow them, that's fine. They can get their phone back after the show ends and they can accept all those fucking requests. But private that social media, because I feel like at this point we're losing the plot and people are forgetting what the show is actually about. And whatever, take away the prize money. Tell them in the beginning when they come in that they've taken away the prize money for this season as an attempt for people to form genuine connections. And if you and then at the very end of the finale, whoever wins, you surprise them with the prize money coming back. But don't tell them that the prize money has gone away until they're in the villa already. That's what I would do. I also just feel like we need to bring back like the dates. We need to bring back all of that shit. Like this season we've had 3 dates technically. 3 dates. No hideaway. Like what are we doing? So we're losing fucking recipes at this point. And so I just think they need to do a hard reset next season. I know y'all are going to be like, oh my God, you're so strict. And like y'all are just being unhappy. I feel like this season is the first season where I've watched it and I was like, what in the literal fuck is going on? And I've watched a bunch of UK seasons and a few of the US seasons. And this season just feels like a clusterfuck. So that's why I'm saying this.